Hi, I'm Heri Nanda, and this is Hustling from Home. Today we'll be talking about employment for women during the national lockdown. For this purpose, I have with me today Ms. Neha Bagaria, who is the founder and CEO of JobsforHer, an online job portal that allows women returning to work to find the perfect kind of employment for them. Thank you so much for joining us, Neha.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here, and it's fantastic that even while everyone is quarantined under lockdown, we can still get to e-meet.
So tell me a little bit about Jobs for Her, what you do and how you do it.
Jobs for Her is an online connecting platform to accelerate women's careers. What we do is to make sure that women can start, restart, and rise in their careers. To do that, we connect women with job opportunities, with very women friendly companies, with reskilling and upskilling, with mentorship, with industry leaders, with a lot of networking events, and with one another so that they can build that community and gain advice and inspiration.
And what inspired you to create such a platform?
I started Jobs for Her 5 years ago in March 2015, and that was after I had taken a 3.5 year break in my own career. I've actually studied finance from the Wharton School. Then I was running my own startup in the education space in Bombay. After which I moved to Bangalore when I got married, and that's when the first shift in my career happened. I left the education industry and joined the pharmaceutical one, did that for 5 years, and then when I became a mother, a baby gave birth to a mother. And I decided to take a break in my career for 3.5 years. By the time I came back, I saw a lot of change that had happened in the industry and in the Indian economy. And what really shocked me was the number of women who had stopped working and were not getting back to work. This is what prompted me to found Jobs for Her. And today we have about 1.8 million women registered on the platform, 7,000 plus companies, 1,000 plus mentors, and 400 different reskilling partners that work with us to accelerate women's careers.
I'm sure then that your inspiration for this company is proving to be particularly useful during this very challenging time for the employment sector. So, based on that, then, what are the changes you've noticed in the number of jobs available on Jobs for Her and jobs that had already been offered to clients but now maybe rescinded or perhaps stalled for a bit until the lockdown lasts?
We've seen a lot of change happening in the job market ever since COVID-19 crisis has hit India. There are certain sectors that are very deeply negatively impacted and will take a long time to recover. There are certain others that are more impacted on a short term, mainly because of the quarantine situation that you've seen. And third, there are other situations where actually companies might be positively impacted over the long run. So even the job market, you're seeing it change according to the different sectors and how those companies have been impacted. If you take the sector which has been very negatively impacted, you can imagine that would include travel, tourism, hospitality, even aviation, which actually builds the planes to be able to fuel those other universities, the other industries. If you look at sectors which have been impacted over a short run, but which will recover right after the lockdown is been completed, is sectors like manufacturing, where the need and the demand for manufacturing is still there. It has not gone away. It's just that they're not being able to manage the supply because people cannot be there. Even industries like real estate and infrastructure, these have been impacted over the short run. But and so while you might seeing hiring decisions being delayed, we're not seeing layoffs happening still across the board. There are also sectors in which are who are hiring in huge numbers even today on the JobsFor platform. One of the sectors across the board has been the tech industry. In fact, more and more companies are looking at digitizing themselves to be able to prepare for future such crises that might come up. Within tech, if you look at connecting platforms like Zoom itself, Facebook, Google, even augmented reality or travel, these are all booming and are preparing for a big upswing. You could look at online entertainment platforms like Netflix, gaming, mobile applications, or even e commerce, where food fashion, retail, toys, they are all going to be bought more online than offline. Also, related industries like telecom, where governments are also realizing how important it is to have strong telecom infrastructure in different countries. There are, of course, other industries like pharma, biopharma, healthcare, which have been become a huge spotlight in order to invest further in your own country's research and development and manufacturing capabilities. Even industries like banking, consumer goods, education, there's still a huge demand for them. But the big change that is happening is the digitization. And that really takes me to the next part, which is that across the board, we're seeing a huge demand for women with technology skills. And by technology skills, I mean developers, coders, testers, UI, UX designers, product managers, big data analysts, machine learning, data science, business analytics, robotics, cybersecurity. The sky's the limit when it comes to the demand for an individual with very strong technology skills. The other change that we have seen in the hiring space is that companies are now realizing that pretty much the entire hiring life cycle can be done digitally. So companies are looking at online job portals to be able to post their job openings. They're looking at application tracking systems to be able to manage those application flows. They're looking at video platforms to be able to conduct the interview cycles. They're also looking at virtual hiring drives where they can meet a wide number of candidates, and they're even looking at onboarding and doing the entire induction training for those employees digitally. So in the sectors which are booming, hiring has not come to an end. In fact, in many cases, hiring is speeding up. The other big trend that we have seen from a job market perspective is that there has suddenly become a huge demand for individuals who are open to freelancing and being gig workers. So, as companies look at reducing their overall cost, they're also realizing that a lot of their roles could be moved into a more of a freelance and gig economy role. And that is something that we have seen extremely well suited with our women talent pool, who are more than happy to work from home, work part time, work on a contract basis, work on projects. And that's a trend that we see continuing and growing.
All right. And lately, there's also been a lot of talk and a lot of academia coming up about how women are being disproportionately impacted by this lockdown, in that they face a higher risk of unemployment because of this lockdown. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think overall jobs and funding have been traditionally more difficult for women to be able to grab versus men. And when you have a crisis situation like a pandemic, jobs and funding do start drying up in many areas. When that happens, there's even less of a pie. The pie itself becomes smaller, which is available for a man or a woman to be able to grab. And when women already had a smaller share of it, they become even more negatively impacted. Also, there are still a lot of biases that companies have when it comes to hiring women, or that investors have when it comes to funding women. And which is why, as always, we do see that job applicants who are women or entrepreneurs who are women are finding it more difficult to be able to find their right job or to be able to secure funding for their businesses during a crisis situation like this. But on the flip side, we are also seeing this as a great opportunity for companies to be able to correct the kind of gender diversity ratios they had in their companies. One, when they are looking at replacing their labor, they're looking at how can they replace their predominantly male workforce with a more healthy balance between male and females. Two, as companies are looking at hiring more gig economy workers, they are getting more and more women employed as part of their workforce. Three, from an entrepreneurship point of view, we are seeing actually a lot of women who are realizing the importance of double income and making sure that they accelerate their businesses, that they actually invest further and be more ambitious about growing their businesses, so that as a household, the overall income is not completely destroyed.
And what do you think it is that actually makes women more vulnerable to unemployment than men?
Well, as Winston Churchill once said, that a good crisis should never be wasted. And the same is true for all the women who are watching this. There has come where we were all trying to accelerate down a road, and now suddenly there's a bend on that road. When you've reached that bend, you do need to hit the brakes. But soon after, you will be able to accelerate again. And while you have slowed down, there is no better time than this to be able to get equipped with the kind of tools, resources, technologies that you need, so that when it's time to accelerate again, you have all the weapons that you require in your armor to be able to succeed. Which is why there is no better time than now to be able to upskill in the latest technologies and tools that are required in the industry that you are working in. And the best part is that all this learning is available at your fingertips, sitting at home wherever you are quarantined. So there are tons of online platforms like Coursera, Udemy, Simply Learn, where you'll be able to find a plethora of courses, many of which are free of cost. In fact, if you go to YouTube and you search for courses in digital marketing, for example, online content writing, you'll find a ton of them which are paid for certifications and free for just taking them. There are also huge universities across the globe that have opened up their doors for anybody who wants to learn and take up their courses. There are also a lot of companies that are providing some of these workshops and webinars and mentorship to women so that they'll be able to accelerate their careers. This is the best time for us to be able to learn and build the networks that we require so that once the time is right, we'll be able to accelerate again.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your advice and your insight, Neha. It was really nice to have you on the show. And to everyone out there, especially the ladies, stay safe, stay informed, and keep hustling.